You'll remember last lesson we left off chapter 8D and we were doing these sort of questions where it was simple interest, it was arithmetic, it was nth term rules, but with slight differences because of the nature of money when you do these questions and percentages. So we're just gonna do this as an example, and then you guys will go ahead and do the rest of it. So one of the best things or the most important things you can do with these questions is always read the question. That's, I think, the hardest part for most kids. They read it and they're like, oh, I give up already. I don't know what's happening. Okay, you have to read the question. So reading this, I can tell that Holly invests 52.50. Now, before I even go ahead, what does that represent, people? Principal. What else? V0, VO. Okay, so that's already V0. That's easy. In an account that earns, so there's my interest rate, 4.5%. But remember, you have to find 4.5% of this number here. Okay, that's what that will tell you to do. What else is there? So it's an interest per annum. Now per annum, don't get too worried about this. It just means per year. But sometimes that'll change to per month or quarterly or monthly. But you'll hear more of that later on. So first things first, write a rule. So when you see the word rule, it's going to refer to the nth term rule that gives the value of Holly's investment after n years. So the format for the rule, remember, will always look like this. So write this down, please. Vn equals V0, okay, plus n times d. But it does change, okay, a little bit every now and then. But for now, we'll leave it at that. So V0 plus n times d. Sometimes you'll see this slightly differently. You'll see it like this, where it goes n times d plus V0. But this is the main format that I've always seen it in. So just stick to this. And in our formula, all you're changing, okay, is the V0. The n stays, but you're also changing the d, common difference. Now, to find that common difference, remember, it's just a percentage of a certain number. So that d is going to be equal to percentage over 100 times V0. I've repeated this, I've done this many, many times. Okay, so to find that d, it's percentage over 100 times V0. Really easy. Alright, so first one, our V0, I can already tell, is 52.50. That's easy enough. Now the common difference, use the information that's given to you there. 4.5% of that 52.50. So it's going to be 4.5 over 100 times 52.50. Oops. So my calculator, you can use a fraction if you want to, but you don't really need to. But 4.5 divided by 100, and then times that by 52.50. And that equals 236.25. So 236.25. Just double check. Yep, okay. Nice and easy, there's my rule. Okay, easy. Part B, find the balance of the interest or investment after 12 years. So with that in mind, you've already got the rule. Just use the rule now to find the investment after 12 years. All right, so looking for the investment, just change n to 12. So 52.50 plus 12 times 236.325. Okay, I am moving a bit quickly, but that's okay. Just keep up. I'm funny, aren't I? Just keep up. You'll be right. 80.85. But is anyone falling behind? Do you understand what's happening? It's pretty easy. For 3 years. That's all right, but a lot of this is stuff that you've already done. I'm just repeating it over and over again. It's literally just a repeat of arithmetic, just with some extra numbers. That's really all it is. Okay, that's B. I'm going to zoom out a bit. Part C, at the end of which year will the investment be worth at least 8,500? Did you have your hand up, Emily?
No.
Okay. So part C there, at which year will the investment be at least 8 grand? So this is when we use our calculator. 8,500. So what year?
Eight. What is it?
What's up? So why did I do 12? Because the question says 12th year, so V12. Yep. Part C, when will it be worth at least 8,500? So use your calculator for this, work it out recursively. So always start with, what was the first number? 50 to 50. There's my V0, press enter, and then you're going to go times, sorry, not times, this is plus. Should be plus. Plus the common difference, oops, wrong one, of 236.25. So 236.25. So every time you press enter, it's going to give you each term. So there's term 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12, sorry, because it says at least $5,000, 8,500. So there it is. Okay. So what term did I say that was? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 13.
Huh? What?
Did I say 13? 14, 14. Sorry, I cannot count. 14. 14. So V14 is going to be, keep pressing the wrong one, 8557.5. 8557.5. So on the 14th term, you'll get that much monies. Okay, I would also suggest that you write it as a sentence. You could write, so on the 14th year, they'll have this much. Okay, really good idea. But generally, with a question like this, it's just going to be a 1-mark question. So if you even just write the number, I would be okay with that. Okay, part D. So question D here is assuming that the interest rate is the same, what would Holly need to invest in order to earn at least 5,000 after 15 years? Round your answer to the nearest dollar. Okay, so this one is a little bit trickier, but we need to figure out how much learn at least $5,000 after the 15 years. So in order to calculate that, we need to use the solve function for this. Okay, but I would also ask you guys, read the question properly so you know what you're looking at. So the interest rate's going to be the same. So that means we're going to keep this. The 236 is going to stay the same. But the question is asking, how much does she have to invest? Okay, so this is saying, what's the V0 going to have to be in order to get at least $5,000 in interest after 15 years? So and then this 5,000 here. Okay, also important because it needs to tell us. It'll tell us how much interest you'll earn, but we need to round our answer to the nearest dollar. Okay, so in terms of using the solve function, okay, do we remember how to use that? You're literally just going to type solve. Okay, that. And now, if you look at the question, if you want to make $5,000 in interest, okay, $5,000 in interest means you need to earn an extra $5,000, right? Yeah, that's what interest means. Whatever you're earning extra, or whatever you're having to pay back. Okay, so if we need to make $5,000 extra, how much interest would we need to? How much interest would that be on top of this? So how much money does she have altogether at the end? Think about it. Okay, so if she starts with this, okay, and she wants to make 5,000 interest, how much money would that be altogether? 10,250. So she wants to get to at least this much. 10,250 equals. Now we don't know what V0 is because that's what it's asking us. Okay, so what would she need to invest? So 10,250 equals V0 plus. Read the question. It says here the interest is going to stay the same. That means this guy will not change. Okay, that will not change. But looking at my formula here, so what I'm actually doing is I'm basing it off this formula, but all I'm changing is this to 10,250. I'm trying to figure out what this is. I know that this is going to be 15 based on what the information is here. Do we understand that? So I'm just going to use my solve function to figure out what V0 is going to be, because that's what the question is saying. How much does she need to invest? Okay, so that's going to be plus 15 times, what was the V? 236.25. Okay, and then what should we put here at the end, guys? Comma what? V0, Okay. Now the little caveat here, the thing to note is you can't actually write V0 in your calculator.
Whatever I did.
Just write any other letter. You can write X or Y or whatever you want. So if I put this in my calculator, solve 10,250 equals, I'll just use X, okay, plus 15 times 236.25, comma X, because I'm trying to find V0, which I just changed to X. So that means she needs to now invest $6,706.25. So in order for her to make interest, I'll write V0 needs to be $6,706.25. So she has to invest this much money. Yes.
Why did you add $13.06?
Because that's how much interest she wants to make. So remember, interest is extra on top that she wants to make. So I know that this isn't the base rate at the beginning, but because in terms of interest that you want to add, if you're changing the numbers to these numbers, okay, all you got to do is start with the principal that you currently have, okay, and then the V0 is what you're looking for, right? I would say because that's the amount of interest that you have to have at the end of the 15 years. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Like I understood it in the first sentence, and then you said more, and I got more.
Okay, all right. Basically, all you got to do is, because the way that this question is set out here, generally it won't ask you for how much. It'll, instead of giving you this, it'll give you like the total amount after this many years will be. But it says because it's earning at least 5,000, you want to make at least $5,000 in interest at the end. So remember, interest is extra amount that you earn, right? And then V0 is how much you start off with. So if you want to make at least 5,000, okay, then you should add that to what you started off with, because you want to increase to $5,000 extra. Kind of makes sense? I think if we do a few more questions of these,
Yes.
it should make more sense. But I'm gonna leave that for now.